welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Surwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good, man.
It's good to hear. We got quite a bit to talk about, so let's get right into it with starting off with reviews. NFL Thursday Night Football. The Patriots and the Steelers faced off in Pittsburgh, and the Patriots won this game 21 to 18. No
Yeah.
one, no one saw this coming. Mitch Trubisky played like shit, but it's Trubisky. Bailey Zappi was in for New England, and he had a pretty solid game. Um, and New England's defense, they stepped up in this game, holding Trubisky to under 200 yards. This was a very, very nice win for New England, a win that they probably didn't want to have, but it's the NFL, so guys are gonna try to win no matter what. It doesn't matter. But that said, probably their GM didn't necessarily want this win, considering their draft stock went down just a little bit. But a good win for New England here.
Yeah, this was solid compared to what I thought. I mean, it was still toilet bowl, but not as bad of a toilet bowl as I thought it'd be. Um, yeah, New England's defense looking good. They've been pretty good all season, to be honest with you. It's just been their offense has been really bad. So they pick up the win on Thursday night.
Yeah, the offense has struggled all year long, and they get a nice win here. The Bears hosted the Lions. Chicago winning 28-13. Jared Goff on abysmal day. Like I said, Jared Goff outside, it's a thing. He is so bad when he plays outside. 3 interceptions in this game. The defense was terrible. I don't know why the Lions bother playing Jerry Jacobs. I mean,
Jerry Jacobs his ass every game.
dude, I don't understand how like I'll give credit to him. He goes out there every single week and plays like ass, and it doesn't affect him mentally at all. Like it's just I don't know, man. This Lions team, I've seen a lot of things the last 4 weeks now that have scared me. Last 5 weeks even, things have not been looking good for both Jared Goff and this entire offense, and the defense just can't do anything against mobile quarterbacks. And Justin Fields had a field day once again.
Yeah, I mean, it was ridiculous. So, we started off, you know, with the Bears up early, and then they came back and got the lead at half, and then fell apart again in the second half. Goff has just been turnover machine, man. He went all that time with no turnovers, and now he's turned the ball over like twice every game for the last 4 games. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean it's been terrible for the Lions, and if they keep playing like this, man, they could very well lose the division. They very, very well could. The
Yeah,
Falcons.
yeah.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that. Yeah, I know that they haven't been playing that well. They, I don't know if they're gonna lose the division, but that first playoff game definitely is in jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, we could see what would be hilarious is seeing the Rams come to Detroit for the playoffs, and have Stafford back in Detroit against you know the guy he replaced. Would be quite great. The
Yeah.
Falcons hosted the Bucks. The Bucks winning this 29-25. This was a nice bounce back for Tampa Bay. I believe everyone in this division, or the top 3 in that division, are tied now, still at 6-7. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, New Orleans, Tampa, and Atlanta are all 6-7 right now. Tampa Bay went into this game um, as a 2.5 point underdog, and they get a nice win here. Baker Mayfield played a pretty game, but where the Bucks offense really took off was Rashad White just having an incredible game here against this really good Atlanta defense. And well, then you have Desmond Shitter on the other hand. He had almost 350 yards passing, but could have had a lot more if was a more accurate passer. But they fall just short. Tampa Bay picking up a nice, much needed victory here.
Yeah, so the NFC South is the toilet bowl, and none of those teams seem to be consistent week to week. They all seem to either win one week and lose the next. So it was good for Tampa to get back into the race, but yeah, just Tampa, Atlanta, New Orleans. It's not looking too good, man. They're gonna have a real test. They're probably gonna face either Dallas or Philly. Whoever doesn't win that division in the first round, they're probably gonna get killed.
Yeah, they could very well get killed. And just a side note here. I mean, we could not only see an NFC South winner be sub 500, but we could also see a wild card team from this division. That's how bad the rest of the NFC really is comparatively. We could see two teams from this division actually in the playoffs, both being under 500, which is crazy to think about. Um, the Bengals hosted the Colts. Bengals with a nice big win here, 34-14. Um, Browning had a pretty damn good day starting for the Bengals. Um, 275 yards, two touchdowns. He 75% completion percentage. I mean, he looked really good. Mixon had a really good game for Cincinnati as well. On the other side of the field, Indianapolis just could not move the ball at all. Um, it just seemed like they were just punting every single drive almost. And yeah, man. But a good win for Cincinnati in a game that they were probably projected to lose.
Yeah, this has definitely been a test for Cincinnati with Joe Burrow out, and Jake Bryan's been better than expected. I mean, he hasn't been really crazy, but he's been doing a solid enough job to where they're able to get wins each and every week. So it was a nice win for him.
Yeah, very nice win. He's been consistent, right? Just you're not expecting a whole lot out of him, but he's giving you quite a bit. The Browns hosted the Jaguars. The Browns winning 31-27. Joe Flacco, man, he's been really good the last couple of weeks. I just out of nowhere, just coming off the bench and playing for Cleveland, he's been really stellar. Over 300 yards passing, three touchdowns in this game. Cleveland, their defense did not play all too well. They did get three interceptions though, so I mean, in terms of that, yes. But we've known Cleveland to keep teams from scoring, pretty low in terms of points. But they allowed 27 against Jacksonville here, and Trevor Lawrence had an okay day. I mean, besides the three picks, he still had three touchdowns, over 250 yards passing. But Jacksonville just falling short here.
Yeah, it's been tough for Jacksonville lately. They've been falling, seems like, and since Trevor Lawrence has been dealing with injuries, it's been tough for him. So hopefully we can see them bounce back as the season is coming to a close here.
Yeah, what really saved them, this week was both the Texans and the Colts losing. Because otherwise, if both those teams won, they'd be tied for the division lead right now, which is crazy. But yeah, the Jags need to figure something out, man, because they're on a losing streak now, I believe. So yeah. Speaking of the Texans, though, they get slaughtered by the Jets, 30-6. Uh, Zach Wilson came out and had actually a really good game. 300 yards passing, 27 for 36. Impressive numbers. Two touchdowns to go with that as well. And this Jets defense, they are still one of the best in the league. Holding, C.J. Stroud, 10 for 23 and 91 yards, man. I mean, this was a very bad showing for Houston on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, this one was crazy. Just the memes with the Jets after this was crazy. I'm not sure if you know who Overtime Megan is, but she was at that game, and people just kept commenting like tan lines, like fucking, because her shit got leaked a couple months ago, and it was like that's why Zach Wilson balled out. So I just saw the memes going crazy about the Jets, man, actually having a good game for once, and Zach Wilson actually doing something.
Well, you gotta send me those memes, man. That's I gotta see that. I gotta see that.
It's just hilarious, man.
Oh man, you gotta send me that shit later. The Ravens hosted the Rams, and this was a lot closer than I was expecting because the Ravens at home are almost like the Dolphins at home, just absolutely incredible, blowing teams out left and right. And I thought, it's the Rams, they're gonna blow out the Rams. Nope, this one went to overtime. The Ravens winning 37-31. The defense just really disappointed. The offense played very well, but the defense just as good as they've been all year. They suffered this week. Stafford had just under 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a really, really good game. Kyron Williams played very, very well, over 100 yards rushing. The Rams had a very, very, very good day, but just fall short to the Ravens, who I thought was going to blow them out, man.
Yeah, I thought so too, especially with the Ravens being so good at home. It was a close one for them, high scoring, and they were able to pull it out. But I saw the play where Lamar Jackson had to kick the ball in the end zone for a safety. Just miscommunications, and they could have been better. It was not a pretty win for Baltimore.
Not a pretty win, but it's a win nevertheless. The Saints hosted the Panthers. Saints getting a nice win here, 28-6. Plain and simple, the Panthers suck. I mean, they're the worst team in football. They have probably the worst quarterback in football right now. Maybe Zach Wilson has a shot at that, but not the way he played this week, obviously. But Bryce Young just missing receivers left and right, but that's going to happen when you can't see over your offensive line. He went 13 for 36, dude. I mean, that is pathetic numbers there.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I get his team is horrible. Like, he doesn't have much to work with at all. But
and he can't fucking see.
Yeah, but there comes a point, man, where you got to be able to put up something, like even like show some flashes that you can be good. Like, has Bryce Young even had a good game all year? Has he had one game where like, okay, he's actually legit? I don't think he's had one game this year where we could be like, okay, he looks like a future star in this league.
Yeah, no, look, he has not had a single game where it's just like, okay, he has some flashes here or there. It's all been either very bad or at the very best it's been mediocre. So, I mean, it's just not good for him. And then this was our toilet bowl of the week. The Raiders hosted the Vikings. Vikings win this on a last-second field goal, 3-0. It was a tough watch. I mean, it was punt, 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 punt. It looked like Big Ten football from 1980. I mean, it was just no one can move the ball against each other, which is really surprising considering just how much better the Vikings offense is on paper compared to Las Vegas. But you had Nick Mullins in at quarterback, no Justin Jefferson for most of that game. I mean, it was just terrible for Minnesota.
Yeah, that game was awful. I didn't watch any of it, but just that's pathetic. Both of those teams, man. We should be able to beat Minnesota both games this year if they're playing like that, but who knows with the Lions, man.
Yeah, here's your drive breakdown. Punt, 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 missed field goal by Minnesota. Punt, punt, end of half. Punt, fumble by the Raiders. Punt, 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 field goal, interception, punt, fumble. That was your your drives for this game. So it wasn't a last second field goal, but still pretty much felt like it considering how bad this game was. But yeah, Vikings getting a W here somehow. The Niners hosted the Seahawks. Niners winning 28-16. Good solid win here for San Francisco yet again. Rat Purdy had a pretty damn good day. Christian McCaffrey, another great day in the office. 16 carries for 145 yards. Drew Lock did not look too great against this Seattle defense, but yeah, the San Francisco defense. But yeah, nice win here for San Francisco, and they improved to 10-3 now.
Yeah, San Francisco looks like the best team, and this man Brock Purdy. I mean,
Rat Purdy.
Crazy about him. I know they. You aren't either. But he's like the MVP favorite right now. It's crazy to see.
He launched him to the moon. He's such a rat, man. He's a rat. The Chiefs hosted the Bills. The Bills winning in a bit of controversy, 20-17. A lot of people were upset that the refs never gave a warning, but Kadarius Toney, dude was lined up like 10 yards off sides. I mean, it was
single-handedly destroyed the Chiefs dynasty,
dude. It is so sad. I know some New York Giants fans. They were extremely happy when he was gone because he's a fucking moron. And Chiefs fans thought, hey, we can, turn him around. And nope, he's still a fucking moron. Yeah, I mean, look, Kelsey thought he had a lateral to, I think it was to Toney.
It was to Toney. Yeah.
And he scored a touchdown. But Toney, like I said, he lined up like a half a yard off sides. He never bothered even checking with the ref to see if he was good. And refs will tell you if you ask if you're good, they'll let you know if you're offsides or not before your team snaps the ball. But he didn't even bother checking. If you look at the film, I mean, he lined up and looked straight down at the ball and never bothered asking to see if he was offsides. And he was very, very offsides, but this was a nice game, nice win for the Bills. I wasn't expecting them to win it here, but as much they're making it harder and harder for my prediction to come true that they're going to miss the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, that was just crazy, man. I know you just mentioned that that if he checks the refs, that they let him know, but he shouldn't have to, man. They're in the NFL, man. You shouldn't be doing stupid shit like that, man. Like, hey, I saw a guy talking. He was like, man, if only Kansas City didn't need Toney right now, that if I were the team, I'd cut him as a statement and be like, this is what happens when you do stupid shit. Like, cut his ass from the team, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I'd cut him if I could, but they need receivers because they have nobody. So bad. The Chargers hosted the Broncos. Broncos winning 24-7 here. Russell Wilson, nice game from him. 21 for 33, over 220 yards, 2 touchdowns. On the other side, LA, just abysmal day. I mean, obviously they don't have a quarterback right now, so things just for them just not looking good. This Denver team is getting a little scary, man. They're in the playoff hunt right now. I mean, they're 7-6 when I don't think anyone expected them to have 7 wins. I think they're over under for wins this year is like 4.5. So very, very nice season so far. I think Peyton and Wilson are starting to get along together. I know at the start of the season things between those two were not good, and they've been winning a lot of football games lately. I think something changed in that locker room, and they've been getting along a lot better because Russ looks like his old self again almost.
Yeah, and I'm looking at a post right now talking about the Broncos are only 1 game behind the Chiefs for the AFC West lead, so they keep playing well. We'll hope they lose this next game because it's against the Lions, but after that, man, they could really win this division, man, and be like, this would be one of the greatest comebacks ever down after giving up 70 points in week 3. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, but looking at their schedule, they could win out their schedule. They could beat Detroit. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen, but it could happen. Sunday night football, the Cowboys hosted the Eagles, and I called it. The Eagles. The Eagles are going to start falling apart, and boy, did they ever! Cowboys win 33-13. Um, Jalen Hurts did not have a very good day. DeAndre Swift had a terrible day. Dak Prescott looked really, really good for Dallas. I mean, Dallas's defense is so good. I mean, they're a top 5 defense right now, statistically. The offense is obviously rolling. Now, I do expect them to do the thing that they always do in the playoffs, and that's lose in the first round. But it is what it is with that. But Dallas right now, they are on top of the world, and there is a tie for the division lead and the NFC, a 3-way tie between Philly, Dallas, and San Francisco now.
Yeah, Dallas, I'm not a believer in Dallas. I've never been. But if there was a year that they actually kind of looked legit, it's this year, man. Dak actually looks good. Like, he's legit not turning the ball over, and he's actually making good decisions. CeeDee Lamb's turning out like a number 1 receiver right now. Micah Parsons is carrying this defense. So they are looking pretty good right now, but like you said, Dallas their nature is to just choke.
I mean, it's Dak Prescott's nature to choke. Speaking of choking, the Giants last night, they hosted the Packers in one of the 2 Monday night games. I hate that we have 2 Monday night games. Just go back to 1. But the Giants win 24-22. This was a game that was pretty much in the hands of the Packers, but they just could not do anything offensively when they needed to, and they fall short to New York just by 2. And Tommy DeVito did not play a good game, and yet this Packers defense, which has been improving all year long, they just did not look good. Weren't getting pressures. They couldn't stop Saquon at all. They end up losing this game just barely, but a game that they should have easily won.
Yeah, so the Packers were looking hot, and the Giants, haven't been all year. And Giants came out and actually took this game. They're actually on a 3-game winning streak right now, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is insane to think that clown car of a team is 3-0 in their last 3 games. I mean,
that clown car of a team's won more games in the last 3 games than the Pistons have won all season.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. The Dolphins stunned at home, losing to the Titans 28-27. This was not a good game for Miami. They finally lose a game at home. Miami at home has been lethal for anyone. But Tua, probably not the best game of his season. Will Levis had an incredible game, though. Derrick Henry, enough said. 17 carries, but 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. Just workhorse in that ball in the red zone. But a good comeback win for Tennessee here. They were down 13-27 with 4.5 minutes left, and they get the win here against Miami somehow.
The Mayo man, Will Levis came out and went crazy at the end. I mean, but it's crazy to think that the Dolphins have only beat one team that's over 500 this year, and that was the Broncos, who were absolutely garbage when they played them. So the Dolphins, man, they got to figure it out against good teams, or else they're just gonna not win a playoff game.
Yeah, if they don't figure this out, man, it's going to be scary for them. So that wraps up this weekend's game. So now we're going to get into the power rankings. Moving up 2 spots into the top 10, you got the Buffalo Bills. Big win over Kansas City. Much needed win to keep their playoff hopes alive. I'm still holding out hope that they'll miss the playoffs, but on that bold prediction. But at this point, it doesn't seem like that'll happen. But good win here for Buffalo, much needed. They've kind of been just floating around this number 10 spot all season, and they're back into the top 10.
Yeah, Buffalo's been looking pretty solid. You know, they could have easily lost this game, but they've looked better. I'm definitely not a Buffalo hater. I still think they have some potential, but I do think their window has pretty much closed. I think they'll still make the playoffs, but probably a first round exit, maybe win one playoff game.
Yeah, I think their window is already closed. I think it closed last year really for them. Jacksonville is at number 9. They went down 1 spot from number 8. Look, they played a close game with the Browns, who've been pretty good. Joe Flacco had a really good game for the Browns, but this Jacksonville defense has not been all too good, and now Jacksonville is just a game ahead. Still of Houston, but Indianapolis is now back in the in this fight as well. Jacksonville is their division to lose still, but not a good week for them. They needed a win here, but at the end of the day, they just fall short here.
Yeah, Jacksonville, man, they've been kind of going downhill. Trevor Lawrence out, not looking too good.
No, they have not been looking good at all lately, but hopefully things for them can improve. Speaking of improving, up 2 spots to number 8 is the Cleveland Browns. Big win, of course, against the Jags, but they've been a top 10 team all season. Defensively, they've been really good. Offensively, it's just kind of been back and forth there. But Joe Flacco really playing some really good football lately. I don't think anyone really expected this out of him, but good win for Cleveland. I like this spot for them here at number 8. I don't think they're close to that top 5, but they're definitely a top 10 team for sure.
Yeah, they're top 10, but they're on the lower end of top 10 because there's other teams. I mean, I know teams that were up higher in the top 5 have kind of come back down to earth, but Cleveland is good. They're definitely an above average team, but they're not in that Super Bowl bubble, as I would say, or that Super Bowl contenders right now.
No, I don't think they're near that as well, but they could work themselves there if they play as consistent as they have been, at least offensively. Defense needs to be a little bit more consistent, but still like this spot. What I don't like is this spot at number 7. You have the Detroit Lions. Look, when you lose to Chicago, you should not be in the top 10 anymore, plain and simple. But that said, the season started off so well for Detroit, and the last 4 or 5 weeks now just have not looked good at all. I know the team's plagued with injuries, but injuries don't make you throw 3 interceptions in a game or fumble the ball 3 times in a game. I mean, Jared Goff and his tiny hands just can't. He can't throw a spiral, for one. He can't hold on to the ball. Again, tiny hands on both of those. The defense hasn't looked all too great. Aaron Glenn hasn't been able to scheme up anything to stop, a mobile quarterback. And here we are now with the Lions losing to a very bad team in Chicago.
Yeah, that was just really bad. And, I've been talking to people who are like, the Lions got a quarterback problem. It's like, do we move on from Goff after this year? Finally, it seemed like he might have been the answer short term uh, especially at the start. But now it's looking like you might have to move off from Goff and actually go and draft a quarterback or trade for a quarterback that's better.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know if Hooker's the answer. I really don't. I mean, we don't know what he could do. I want to see him get reps. I know he's going to be available soon. I would like to at least see him get some reps in games, see what we got at least out of him. But that said, I don't know if he's the answer. Um, maybe Goff still is. He's just, he people go through slumps. I get it, but this is a very bad slump. He needs to turn things around very quickly if he wants to have this extension that that everyone's talking about. He could possibly get. At staying at number 6 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Still don't know how they're ahead of Detroit when Detroit has the head-to-head, win and also the better record. But it is what it is there. Um, I agree. They're still. I don't think they're top 5 team right now, but it was a game they could have won. They should have won had Kadarius Toney not been a absolute idiot and line up a yard off sides. I mean, it was embarrassing. Guys check all the times with refs. You see it all the time with guys lining up. Um, but he didn't even bother checking with the line judge. So, but Kansas City, they played tough against a pretty decent team in Buffalo, but it should have been a easy win for Kansas City.
Yeah, this was not good. Kansas City, I would put Detroit over them as well. They just, even with Detroit playing bad right now, at least they're putting up some points. Like, I know in this last game they only had 13, but they've been scoring more, and Kansas City just has no offense right now.
Yeah, no offense. They're one of the worst offenses in the league. Defensively, they're very, very good, but they just have nothing offensively. Staying at number 5 is the Miami Dolphins. Look, it was a tough loss to Tennessee. The defense really blew it. The offense played pretty well. But yeah, like I said, just the defense blew it. Are they top 5 teams still? Fringe. The NFL.com believes that they are still. So I mean, I don't mind this placement for them, but yeah, just a disappointing week for Miami, really.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Just they have to move down and they have to figure out what went wrong and just keep moving forward here.
Yeah, they got to figure out what went wrong, and I mean, yeah, you said it perfectly. You know, figure out what's going on and fix it. Moving down one spot to number 4 is the Philadelphia Eagles. Um, I mean, yeah, they've been very good this year. They're probably going to win out because they play a easy schedule the rest of the year. I think they play like the Chargers and a couple other bad teams still. But they're tied for their division lead now, tied for the conference lead, all at 10-3, and they lost to the Cowboys, who are, I mean, they've been playing out of their mind. Let's be realistic here, but it was the last 2 weeks now for Philly. Just they've been broken, and you know their record shows for it.
Yeah, I mean they've been suffering some losses now, and they got to move down because of it.
And moving up one spot to number 3 is the Dallas Cowboys, and they've been really good all year. I mean, offensively, Dak has been rolling. CeeDee Lamb, he's been incredible, looking like a true number 1 player. I mean, number 1 receiver. But yeah, I like the spot for them. They beat Philly. Obviously, it was at home, so it's a little bit easier of a place to play in when you're at home against a good team like that. But I think San Francisco broke Philly, and Dallas just took all advantage on it that they could, and obviously they did because they got a huge win here.
Yeah, they got a huge win, and definitely moving up on the power rankings here.
And staying at number 2 is the Baltimore Ravens. Tough loss, to a bad Tennessee team, but yeah. Oh no, they won this week. Never
No,
mind.
they won. Yeah.
I'm not thinking straight right now. But no, it was they won in overtime against the Rams, and that's just like that's a team that you should blow out, man. I mean, they are not a good team at all, but they found a way to win. They win in overtime, but it shouldn't have even gone to overtime, considering that Baltimore at home has been so good, blowing out teams, like I said earlier, left and right. But I still like the spot. I still think they're one of the best teams in football right now, and they deserve this number 2 spot.
Yeah, they do.
And then staying at number 1, San Francisco 49ers. Um, they had it for the first 5 weeks of the season at number 1. Then they lost 3 in a row, and now they've won their last 5. And the trade deadline worked super well for them because they got Chase Young for a cheeseburger, pretty much. They've done an incredible job fixing really the whole Trey Lance situation. They gave up so much to get him. And Brock Purdy has really saved this team realistically. I still think he's a rat, but at the end of the day, the Niners' offense is just really good, especially when you have a Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel on your team. It's gonna help your quarterback a lot, and then defense. I mean, enough speaks for itself there.
Yeah, they just got the most well-rounded team in football today.
Yeah, I mean, plain and simple, they are an elite team, elite defense, and yeah, nice win this weekend. So that's going to do it for your NFL power rankings. So we're going to move on now. The Army versus Navy game happened this weekend. And Army won it 17-11. And this game kind of just went as I predicted. Not a lot of passing from Army. Only 14 attempts there. On the other end, Navy, they went against. I mean, they switched up things. Navy's obviously known for being a heavy run team, but they switched it up this year. They went to a more passing offense, and they fall short here. The passing offense did not look good here against this Army defense, and it ended up just being a slow grind. But it was a good game, I thought. It's always fun watching these military games. Just because the rivalry between the branches. Shout out to our boy Tim. He's obviously in the Army right now, and he was able to see Army get a nice win here.
Yeah, shout out Army minus 2.5 here. I was talking with a group earlier, and we were kind of joking about that. But yeah, so Army gets the win. The over/under was set at 28. I don't know about for other sports books, but I was seeing 28, and it ended exactly at 28. So whoever bet that, definitely tough, especially because at the end of the game, especially if we had the under, it was like a last-second safety. So to get Navy to 11 points, so definitely tough there. But yeah, it was a nice rivalry game here, even though it was low scoring. It was, Army coming out with the big win.
Yeah, ESPN bet had the over/under at 28.5. So if you bet the under there, you were sweating quite a lot, especially after that safety happened. But yeah, very fun game, of course, to watch, and look forward to it next year, really. So now we're gonna talk a little bit of baseball here for a moment. Shohei Ohtani has signed with the Dodgers, 10 years, $70 million contract. Of all, or yeah, 700 million contract. It was, yeah. I thought it was 70. I could have.
No, it's
Okay,
700.
okay.
Well, and we'll get into the details. There's more details that came out about the contract too, because it's 70 million per year, but he chose to defer most of the money, which I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's what I was about to get into here. Just he deferred to only get paid $2 million a year over these
Mm-hmm.
10 years, and then after his contract's up, get the last 680 million.
680.
Yeah, 680
Yeah.
million. That way, the team could spend a lot more money to help build this team. I just, as it seems like baseball has a bit of a problem right now, and that's basically that only like four teams matter in the league, and that's the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Astros, and
The Braves.
and the Braves. They're like the only teams that anyone goes to now. I mean, it's pretty sad that any star is either going to go to those four teams or not going anywhere. And part of it is a lot of shit owners that don't want to spend money. Um, for example, Detroit, they don't want to. Chris Ilitch doesn't want to fucking spend any fucking money on this team. They had so much money coming off the books. With Cabrera being gone now, and
Yeah.
they sign Maeda, which isn't a bad signing, but it's not what
Gotta
we
do
need.
more.
We need bats, and then the only batter that we got was Mark Canha from the Brewers. I mean, what are the fucking Tigers doing? Get a bat for fuck's sake! It's not that hard.
For real. Like, it's just crazy. And the Dodgers too. So they give Otani this contract, 700 million. He defers it so he's not gonna get most of it until the 10 years following, which is pretty smart if you think about it. Because a lot of people are like, he's gonna do that. He's gonna move to Florida or someplace where there's no income tax. He's not gonna get taxed on that money like he should be. And now they're looking at Yamamoto, this guy who's a really big star in Japan, who played with Otani in Japan at one point. And they're looking at Josh Hader, who was a premier closing pitcher. So the Dodgers, man, they're about to start making a salary cap, man, with the Dodgers spending all this money. But, I mean, if they still lose in the first round of the playoffs, man, it ain't going to matter.
Yeah, no, it won't matter. But it's annoying to me that all these players are either going to go to one of four teams in the league. And again, like I said, there's a lot of teams that just won't spend money. LA or the Angels won't spend money because their owner is a fucking
Yeah.
scumbag. Um, you know, the Marlins don't spend a lot of money. Um, the Orioles used to not spend a lot of money, but now they're starting to spend a little bit. But it's just baseball's got a big problem not having a salary cap, man. They really do. All the talent is really within four teams now. It's pretty sad that that's what we've come to in baseball, and that's why no one really likes it anymore, man.
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, there's still a lot of diehard baseball fans here, including myself, but it just sucks not seeing these small owners like, and these guys have money. It's not like they don't have enough money. Like, they should be able to, pay these guys. Like, there was a rumor at one point with Otani going to, the Blue Jays or the Cubs or even the Giants, and that would have been really cool to see. Just seeing them somewhere in a little bit smaller market. I mean, still big market teams. Chicago and Toronto and San Francisco are still bigger teams in the overall comparison, but they are smaller compared to LA and New York, and it would have been cool to see that happen, or just even other big names signing and these owners spending money on them, man. But yeah, the Yankees, they traded for Juan Soto now, so now that's another big name going to New York. So, and then the Mets too. We haven't even talked about the Mets. That's probably the fourth team right there that we should have mentioned that is always spending money. They did that last year, man. They spent a shit ton of money.
And well, that blew up in their face last year
Yeah.
horribly. I mean, yeah. If you want to throw the Mets in there, there's five teams because like I said, L.A., Houston, Atlanta, and then the Yankees. So yeah, you could throw the Mets in there too because they do spend a lot of money. But the Reds, they don't spend any money at all. I mean, they don't care. They just want to have you know their little toy, I guess is what you want to call it for them. But yeah, man. crazy times in baseball. But good for Ohtani. It was kind of smart, you know. And yeah, I think he's gonna get that $680 million after he moves to Florida, so he doesn't have to pay any taxes on it. Which again, smart as hell for him. But yeah, Ohtani to the Dodgers. He doesn't even have to leave town to a different team.
Yeah, it's just gonna go across the street, basically.
Yeah, so turn our heads back to college football. We're gonna talk about some transfer portal players. Lot lot of movement. We have thousands of players, or over 1,000 players now in the transfer portal, which is it's a shame that this is what college football has come to. That you play somewhere for a year and then you immediately move to a different school. There's no loyalty anymore, man. It is really pathetic that we've come to this.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it. First and foremost, Riley Leonard, who is Duke's quarterback, he's got his name written all over Notre Dame. It seems almost 100% guaranteed at this point that he's going to be moving to Notre Dame.
I think he already did.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a few hours ago.
Well, shit, I didn't see that. But you had Aiden Childs, who was the backup quarterback at Oregon State. He's off to Michigan State to follow the guy who recruited him, in Jonathan Smith, which is very good for if you're a Michigan State fan. Childs has a lot of good arm talent. So if you want to actually see a good quarterback for the first time in God knows how many years, has it been since you guys have had a good quarterback?
I mean, probably since like what is it been since Kirk Cousins, since like, Connor Cook maybe?
I'd say probably Connor Cook was probably your last good one.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. Because I wasn't too crazy about Lorookie. I know some people liked him, but he was Peyton Thorne, Lombardi.
Yeah, no, just not. And then this year, Hauser and Numbnuts. What's his fucking name? Noah Kim. I mean, they're both gone now, anyways. But they're not going to really end up anywhere good. That's for sure. Dante Moore's in the portal from UCLA. Had a really pretty good year as a freshman, and he's off to somewhere right now. I mean, he's in the portal.
Dylan Gabriel went to Oregon.
Yep. Cam Ward's leaving Washington State. Let's see who else is in the portal right now. Pretty much everyone's in the portal right now.
The Miami quarterback transferred to Wisconsin.
Yep.
Tyler Van Dyke.
Kyle McCord's off to Nebraska. Saw that.
Oh, damn. Yeah, portal, but geez, Nebraska.
That's fucking hilarious. Did you say Dylan Gabriel to Oregon?
Oregon.
Yeah. No. Let's see. Who else is in the portal that's interesting? Anyways, Uyunglele. He's in the portal, but he's undecided on where he's going. So that's obviously he's gonna be a top prospect for anyone. Nate Johnson from Utah's in the portal. There's tons of guys. Chip Trainum's in the portal. He's gone to Kentucky though, I see. So R.I.P. there. Yeah, man. I'm not seeing Michigan pick up a lot of guys, but they haven't lost anyone in the portal, so that's obviously a good sign. Sam Levitt from MSU's gone off to fucking Arizona State. Did you see that?
Nah.
Oh, R.I.P. him. Who else is in the portal? Oh, cool. Well, Michigan does pick up someone, a linebacker from Maryland, Jay Barham. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce that, but he's off to Michigan. He's actually been he's a pretty good linebacker for Maryland this year. A big center part of that defense, which really helped. But um, yeah, man, just it's crazy just how many players are in the portal now. A lot of players are transferring to Colorado. Um,
Yeah, for Dion, yeah.
but which is it is what it is there. But they're also losing a ton of players too in Colorado, so that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. Um, but yeah, man, just it's kind of just crazy to me how you know this is the point that we've gotten to with the transfer portal and everything when we just have guys, just they play somewhere for a year and they don't get enough playing time or enough target shares or whatever the fuck it is, and they just go off to somewhere else, and it's just like I think I have an idea basically is when you go to a school, you sign a contract. It's mutually binding. You can't let go, like the school can't let go of you, and you can't leave the school. That's either like 2, 3, or 4 year contract, and after that you can either re-sign a contract after 2 years or you could go off to the portal. But I just think this one and done shit is ridiculous, and it shouldn't be part of college football. It's not what it's about, but it's turning into the NFL light, and it's just chaos at this point, man. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, I could definitely see a contract being implemented, but so many things are going to be hesitant because of it. But yeah, man, just bouncing around from team to team, just trying to find your spot. It's tough, man.
And I mean, like Nyland Green, who's a really good quarterback at Georgia, he's entered the portal. Don't know where he's going to be going, but I mean, it is really sad that this is what we've come to for college football. There's no loyalty anymore, and it's just so. And the other problem too is that like recruiting is super hard because not only do coaches have to go out and actively recruit high school players, but they also have to recruit their own players that they have to just stay, and that's at this point we need to start having like general managers or something just figure out how to keep players at the schools that they go to, man. It's so ridiculous that this is what we've come to.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, lots to talk about there. Once we get more, names to places, we'll talk about it more. Trevor Etienne from Florida, he's in the portal now. He's a really, really solid running back. But yeah, man, just a really, really strange time for college football with all these players moving. I mean, we got over 1,000 players in the portal. More to come, too, especially after the college football playoff ends. We could see a lot of people from any of these 4 teams leave. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up for this episode. Thursday, we're going to get down into starting, obviously we'll talk about the NFL. But we'll also start breaking down the bowls that are coming up for all next week. I believe Saturday through Wednesday we'll have to cover all of those. But Tuesday's episode next week will be kind of a mixed bag between reviewing some of the bowl games that we'll cover on Thursday's episode and, previewing more ahead for the week. So we got a lot coming up with all these bowl games, but yeah, Mike, you got anything else you want to add tonight?
No, just stay tuned for the next few episodes here, and we're gonna keep talking about all the other sports here. We dove into baseball today. That's gonna definitely be heating up as free agents move around. Dove into the transfer portal as well.
We'll also be covering the NBA and the NHL as well. So definitely more variety, and those sports will start to take over as the NFL regular season starts wrapping up, and college and the bowl games are all concluded at the start of the new year. So yeah,
Yeah, and with that, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know, you want to see more baseball content, more NHL, more NBA. I mean, you guys let us know, and we will see you guys on Thursday.